Hey, howdy, hey y'all, Coffee Locks here, and welcome back to my channel. It has been about a little over a month since I have made a video. I was originally planning on taking just like 2 or 3 weeks off of creating for the holidays, and then there was just so much going on and I figured I needed a little bit more of a break than that. So here I am a month later, and I thought it would be good to do a video talking about the past year and then my goals for 2024. 2023 was honestly an incredible year for me in both my personal life and my art business. I joined a book club. I met some amazing women who are now some of my best friends. I had amazing art markets. I started my YouTube channel and took my first big international trip, which was very, very exciting. So I did my first Montreal art market in April of last year, and it was such an incredible experience. I absolutely loved it. It was Maleficarum Montreal, formerly known as Witch Please Montreal, and it was the market where I first met my bosom pal, Katie, who is My Stitch Witch. We did the collaboration for the Holly Witch doll for the holidays last year, and it's one of those markets that I will always be applying to if I am able. Like, if I can be there, I'm gonna do it. Absolutely adore it. And after that market was over and I had sold my stock and I was just kind of liquidated and done for the moment, I took a 2-week vacation to Morocco with family and my partner, and it was amazing. We traveled between half a dozen cities and we stayed a couple days in each and had incredible food, met incredible people. I got to drive a dune buggy through the Sahara Desert for hours, and it was honestly the most exhilarating thing I've ever done in my life, and I will probably be chasing that high forever. I'll put some footage in here so that you can see what it was like. I cannot recommend enough driving dune buggies through the Sahara Desert. That was like, and then post-vacation, I kind of found it difficult to get back into production. Like, I was fully in vacation mode. I had done so much and lived so much life in those 2 weeks that coming home and I needed some time to just decompress and be lazy. And yeah, I found it hard to get back into working on my art. And in that summer, my book club folks started a weekly badminton park group where we would set up a net and play in parks around Montreal. And it was one of my favorite things that we did over the summer, but we didn't get to do it very much because we got rained out nearly every week. I'm pretty sure it was one of Montreal's rainiest summers to date. It was absolutely insane. So much rain. And most of what I did throughout the summer was preparation for getting started with YouTube. I wanted to make sure that I knew everything that I possibly could about this whole process before I got started, which can be a bad thing for me. I will get absolutely paralyzed and research the heck out of things and then not end up doing them. I procrastinate so much because I think that I need to learn everything I can possibly learn about the thing before I start and make sure I have X, Y, and Z, have the whole list, everything checked off before I can start. And I need to learn that it's not really necessary. You can just jump in and do it. And that's what most people that I watch YouTube videos on how to start a YouTube channel, that's what they always said. They're just do it. You just have to get started. And I'm so glad that I ended up taking that advice after I had procrastinated and researched the heck out of it for months. To finally take the plunge was absolutely what I needed to get going with this. Yeah, so when I was not out with friends and doing other things this summer or playing video games, I was researching researching. And I was also watching a lot of like digital illustration and artist vlogs and just seeing what other people in the art realm do on YouTube. Yeah, so after all of that time researching, I came up with, kind of a short list of all of the things that I would need to get started that could be budget friendly. I just ordered like some bare bones stuff, like my little lapel mic, like some things to put my phone on because I record with my phone. I didn't want to invest in a camera right away because I'm not super camera smart and I'm gonna have to do more research. Surprise. I don't know, maybe this year if my channel gets off the ground a little bit more, one of my goals, I would like to have one of my goals for 2024 to be to invest in a good camera for YouTube. I think that it would be most helpful. My phone is great. I have a Google Pixel 7 and yeah, I have found it very easy to use for YouTube videos, but I would like to have the freedom of having a camera and being able to like use my phone while I film. I think that that's something that's stymieing me a little bit when I'm working on art and want to like show an alternate view, but I'm using my camera on my phone in order to record the whole thing, so I can't do a more zoomed in, and then I have to like rearrange my setup, the whole shebang. Anyway, I don't need to bore you with this. The point is, getting a camera is a goal that I have for myself. So I actually recorded and edited my first video for YouTube before I went on my yearly trip to see my friends and family in Ohio, which is where I'm from. And it was a really wonderful trip. Even though it was 2 weeks long, it's always 2 weeks long, but it's somehow never enough. I have so many wonderful people there to see and spend time with, so having to spread myself and my schedule out over the course of 2 weeks is a little bit difficult. And I think it was around that time when I was in the States that I got my acceptance letters for Maleficara Montreal again for a December market, and then Crépuscule, which is another one of my favorite markets. It's in Sainte-Thérèse, and it's incredible. I was there in December. It was my last market of the year, and I'm so excited for it this year too. I can't wait. I actually, just this past week, got my acceptance letter for their May market, so I will be there in May, and more details will be coming about that. And a couple weeks after the Ohio trip, we drove out to Ottawa to spend a week with our best friends who we had just seen in Ohio. They came up to Ottawa to spend time with us. And we went to a bunch of museums, we went on hikes, we puzzled, we played board games. It was absolutely incredible. It was such a wonderful time, and I'm looking forward to doing that again sometime in the future. Post Ottawa vacation, that was when I was like, okay, I got accepted to 2 markets that are coming up really quickly, and I haven't started on anything yet. So when I got back from Ottawa, that was when I finally got started with my production for those markets and started filming that also for YouTube. So a lot of my YouTube videos that I started doing were studio vlogs for working on that batch of dolls for those markets. Honestly, I think that November was probably the busiest month I have ever had in my life, between making all of those dolls for the markets and then filming and editing for YouTube and learning editing for the first time. My goodness, it's so much. That was another thing that I had to watch so many videos on. And gosh, yeah, it's one of those things where you're never going to learn enough again. And so you have to just kind of like jump in and start. And once you get the footage in there and you start piddling around, you eventually figure it out. And I eventually figured it out. And I still have so much to learn, but at least, I've got the bare bones down, and yeah, it's getting easier with time, so that's good. But yeah, honestly, like after that November and that first week of December, I was probably the most proud of myself that I've ever been in my whole life. I did so much work and it felt so good to do it and then have it all done. However, this year, I am going to try and pace myself better. That's really one thing that I'm learning is I need to not put these things off until the very last minute and then crunch to get them done. It is reminding me severely of when I would con crunch to get costumes done before anime conventions and stuff. And oh boy, we got it done, but was it worth it? Who knows? In December, the first market that I vended at was Maleficarum, and I got to meet a new friend and table mate who I absolutely adore. Her name is Lynn Lee, and she does amazing embroidery. I'll put her stuff somewhere here so that you can see it. We had a great time, and that market was phenomenal. I sold out of nearly everything 2 hours before the market was slated to end, and it was the most incredible market that I've had out of my limited experience. And then the second market was Crepuscule, and I honestly love this market. I cannot wait to be doing it again. It was my second time going to that market and my first time vending at it, and I'm definitely going to be applying for all future markets that they put on when they fit my schedule, for sure. And so at Crepuscule, I sold probably 65% of my stock, which honestly ended up being perfect because I had already known that I had a bunch of people online who were going to want to purchase for Christmas, and to have some stock left over from that market that I could take and put online immediately after was really great, because it ended up, I posted about it and then everything that I had left was sold out within 24 hours. So all of those people, well, most people who had messaged me about getting a doll or an ornament were able to get some in time for Christmas. And then after those sales were all done, one of my great aunts contacted me and wanted me to make 2 dolls for Christmas gifts for 2 of my cousins. And I had just enough time to eke those out and get them shipped before Christmas. They ended up getting there to my aunt on December 21st or 22nd. So right on time. And those dolls were the June model that I recently shared on my Instagram. So you can be looking for more June models in the future, because I'm going to be making more of her to have for my spring markets, and hopefully have some available online as well. And post-holiday work, we ended up having several family gatherings over the course of like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And I'm pretty sure that I ended up doing like a little over a dozen hours of driving in between all of the places that we had to go. You know, and they were mostly like entire weekend long trips. So yeah, it was a lot of moving around, and, you know, we took Luna with us, and so having to cart her around, you know, many hours in the car, I don't think that she had a great time in the car, but when she was at the family function, she was living the dream with all the attention she was getting. So yeah, it just ended up being a nice break from everything and a really good time with family. And so here we are, nearing the end of the first month of 2024, and I'm ready to take on the next phase of my life and my work. I'm really excited about this year. I think it's going to be really, really good. I have already started production on some of my stock for Crepuscule coming up in May, and I'm hoping to get into Maleficarum as well for a spring market. We'll see. And I have another set of markets on my roster that I need to apply to, so I'm going to be starting to work on that. For my goals for 2024 for my business, I really want to get into 6 markets instead of 3. I did 3 last year, and that was the perfect number for last year because I had so many other things going on that I was doing, and you know, I wanted to ease kind of into this business. Last year was kind of like my first year of actually being in business. So, yeah, I think that 3 markets was like a really good number for me to start out, but I definitely want to amp it up this year. And so I'm really gonna try to manage my time and my energy better so I can get things done in adequate time and to give myself breaks in between, sprints of work. I want to just make sure that I'm not burning myself out. I'm very prone to doing that, and I think that a lot of us are. I think that's probably a very relatable thing for artists. So I really want to allow myself enough time to get everything done in time for my deadlines. And historically, I am the type of person who does require deadlines in order to get things done. If I don't have a deadline, I will just piddle fart around for an eternity. So I need deadlines to get things done, but I also need to make sure that I'm not pushing myself all the way up to that deadline before, I get started and then have to sprint to get it done really quickly. So that is one thing that I'm really hoping to discipline myself with this year. I have also set up a Notion account for myself, and I'm hoping that digitifying my life and my tasks will be easier for me to manage, because I really, really need to keep track of my progress and my to-dos better. In the past, I've done a physical planner, which I absolutely love, but I find it hard to keep up with week to week, having to sit down and make a new spread for the week. Sometimes I just don't have the energy to do that, or the brain power to get it all set up. So I'm hoping that an online template that is cute will help me be able to keep track of all of that easier, and I'll try to keep you guys posted on how that works out for me. I think that it's going to be a good thing, so we're going to give it a shot. When doing markets last year, I learned a lot about good tabling practices and how to connect and appeal to customers. And I think that my customer service is really good. I really enjoy talking to people. I am an extrovert, so it's easy for me to engage with people at my table, but also I've been learning about how, setting up your table will pull people in, and what elements to have on your table in order to make people feel comfortable approaching, or, have interest. And at my first December market last year, the market photographer actually recommended me make a slideshow of my making process for my dolls, because especially when my table was empty and people had nothing to look at, they weren't going to approach, having something that could display and show how my stuff is made and what I have to offer would be really good to have on the table, especially at end of market. Honestly, when people come up to my table and start looking at my stuff, most of the questions I get are, how do you make these? What are these made from? And I think that some people are afraid to ask those questions, and they're still curious. And so I think that it would be nice to have something that shows them. And so what I did for the second market was I used my iPad and I made a self-directed slideshow that you could just tap through in order to see my process. And I learned then that I think people are really hesitant to touch other people's electronic devices. Honestly, the only person I ever saw use that slideshow and click through my tablet was a 12-year-old boy. So nobody else was really into that. So I think taking that knowledge that I have from that market and doing it that way, I think what I'm going to do this year is make essentially a giant reel of videos that constantly play. That way nobody has to touch the tablet in order to start it. And, it just can be rotating, and you can get information regardless of where you enter the video at. So I think that I'm going to do that this year. And another goal of mine this year is going to be to get an e-commerce website up and running. I have an Etsy, but I don't use it. So, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Etsy has been notoriously difficult with small businesses over the past couple years. The fees keep rising, and honestly the quality of the website has gone down so much that most people that I know who are artists and have small businesses that used to sell on there are no longer doing so. You know, they're moving to Squarespace or Shopify. They're literally just paying for their own website at this point. It's not really worth having the built-in search engine of Etsy when you're getting feed out the wazoo and nobody's seeing your stuff anyway. So yeah, I have an Etsy solely because sometimes when you apply for markets, the markets will require you to have a website, and it can be any e-commerce website, but it can't be social media. So I needed to have some type of other platform when doing my application, so that there was like official forms of contact and stuff for the market for insurance purposes. So I'm gonna be leaving that Etsy up, but there will not be any sales through it. So if you want to buy a doll, if you have been perusing my Instagram and want to see what I have available, just send me a DM on there, and I usually respond pretty quickly, and I'll let you know if I have anything in stock. And if I do, and you know, we can do a sale, I'll usually just do it through DMs like that. Or you can email me. Email also is a great option. I check it quite often. So yeah, that's what I'm doing for now. However, depending on how my first markets go this year, I think that this year will probably be the year where I officially set up a website and portfolio, probably through Squarespace. I will let you guys know how all of that will shake out. But yeah, that's a goal. That's a goal that I have. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to include in this video. Yeah, I think that I have said all of the things that I had taken notes about. So I think that we will call it there. I really appreciate you guys. I love doing this YouTube channel, and I'm really excited to make it a bigger part of my job. And I really appreciate all of your views and your likes and your comments. Y'all are so great, and I'm looking forward to this community growing and being able to put out more videos for you guys this year. So yeah, thanks for all that you are and all that you do. You guys are great, and I'm gonna get emotional, so I'm gonna get off of here now. Okay. Have a wonderful February, because it'll probably be February by the time I get this video out. And yeah, happy Valentine's Day, I guess. Bye!